Hi, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to share another quick update for you guys of my now complete Decepticon display here. I recently received the remaining cassette tapes for my acoustic wave, and with that I was finally able to add Rumble to my display here. My plan was to take advantage of the figure's design and see if I could create a dynamic pose with it. And this is what I came up with, so please follow along as I show you how I accomplished this. For this project, I'll be using this product called Instamorph. This is my go-to when it comes to creating custom fit connection points from my figures to my base. This material comes in little pellets, so the first thing you need to do to make them usable is to drop them in some hot boiling water for about a minute or so. After that, you scoop it out and it becomes soft and malleable. And once it's soft, you can knead it like you would Play-Doh, and with it you can form whatever shape you want. In this case, my plan is to take advantage of this figure's design and make use of that big hollow section in the back of Rumble's leg. But first I need a piece of metal wire to use as my armature. With that, the next step is simply to mold the Instamorph around the wire. And the trick to this material is that with the heat, this stuff becomes soft and malleable, but once it cools, it essentially becomes hard plastic. So to reheat this, I like to use my heat gun. And I continue to shape it with my finger until I get it into a rough shape that I want. Once it becomes just slightly warm, and when it feels like it's just about to harden, this is when I like to actually put it into the cavity and then give it a good press. And just like Play-Doh, by pressing it down, it acts like a mold, and you can start to really shape the Instamorph until it fits snugly. And you basically repeat this process as needed. Just hit it with the heat gun again for a couple of seconds to soften it, and then just continue to reshape and refine, and just play around with it until you end up with something that you like. When I'm happy with it, I use a little bit of super glue to secure the wire in place, and to finish I put a couple of bends to the wire to shape it around the foot, just so it's as hidden as possible. And here I make a quick test just to check the stability of it, and just to see if it'll hold up the figure the way I want. Everything looks pretty good, so the next step is to connect the other end of the wire to the base itself. And here's a rock base I'll be using again. In my last video I showed how I made this, so feel free to check that one out if you haven't. The first thing I need to do with this now is to hollow out part of the bottom. Reasons being, one is I want access to the wire that'll be running through the foam. This way I can secure it. And two, I want to weigh the base down so it won't tip over once I attach the figure to it. And what I'm doing here is defining the opening for the hole. I'm cutting out a scrap piece of foam I saved from a previous project, and I'm just trimming it to fit the size of the base. Then I can use it as a guide to then cut out the opening of the foam. With that done, I'll know where to start removing material, and I just pick away at it until I think the hole is big enough. And once that's done, the next thing to do is to plan out where I want to spike the wire into the base. This was probably one of the more nerve-wracking parts of this whole project because you only really get one shot at it, but I luckily managed to only miss the mark by a little, so I was still able to get it to work. The next thing I do is to bend this end of the wire so it's not sticking out, and then figure out a way to secure it to the foam. For this, I'm using a couple pieces of Lego to help anchor it down, and this gives me something a little more solid for the hot glue that I'll be using to grab onto. And this should hopefully lock everything in place. Once the hot glue is dried, I fill up the remaining space with some sand. This will give it the additional weight. And then I apply some more hot glue to the edges, and then I can close everything up with my foam lid. I go back with a little more hot glue just to double check the edges and to make sure that none of the sand is slipping through. And to finish this project off, I go and apply a coat of paint to blend everything back together as best as possible, and we're done. And here's the finished base again with rumble attached. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I really like how the figures are interacting with the display. At some point, I'll need another home for Dirge in the back. He's kind of my odd man out because I'm still waiting for his mold mates, and who knows when or if they'll ever get released. And if or when the time comes, I'll need to make some decisions about who to put in his place. But until then, this will do. Well, thank you for watching this video, and as always, please comment, like, and subscribe for more content. Till next time.